established the official leader of opposition position in Parliament. Official Leader of Opposition Act. People don't seem to understand, and that's what has been the end game. And I really like President William Ruto for his foresight, because he is the one who was convincing us as his team members.
Yes.
That what do you give this person who becomes number 2? And I have always opined that the leader should go to the National Assembly, maybe the running mate should go to the Senate, so that they can lead their troops from within Parliament, because that is the crafting of democracy. But Raila Odinga is the one who led us to where we are today. He must take responsibility, because that time I was an advisor in his office, and me and Miguna confronted him because we wanted a pure parliamentary system, because it is the one game changer. If you look at all the countries that went parliamentary post-colonialism, they have developed: New Zealand, Australia, and you can go on and on and on. But those who went purely presidential really do not seem to have done very well. So in a multicultural, multi-ethnic society, which majority of the countries are anyway, parliamentary system is better. But then also killing the 2 offices that were killed by the new constitution. The office of the official leader of opposition, I think for me that was a clear lack of oversight.
Yes.
Foresight, sorry for that, but not oversight, foresight, because you know, if you went into elections, and they have been very close, the last 3 elections have been very close. William Ruto won by 1.64%, really, 234,811 votes. In 2017, the election was nullified. In 2013, I think 50+1 was only about 7,000 votes.
Yes.
And even in 2007, Kibaki won by 2.35%. So you definitely then have nearly half the country outside, and they're all Kenyans. But then, instead of having this mongrel thing called handshake government, or nusu mkate, that you have seen in 0713, which I was privileged to serve as an advisor,
yes,
in the office of the Prime Minister, or the handshake one of 2017-22, which I was a senator and I was removed by Uhuru and Raila from the Senate, but thank God I went back after they tortured me. You end up with a situation where really whoever has been defeated to go back to Parliament and lead his troops from Parliament.
Yes.
It is a neater way of doing things. So because they have the mandate of their electorate to keep the government in check.
Yes.
And if you look at the art of government, is the 3 arms of government. We have the executive, which is now whoever who wins power. Then you have the legislature, which is basically members of Parliament, and also the judiciary. Now, for this legislature, then you have both sides, because there's no way one party will win all of the seats. Even if you are to go the South African way, I think it's also the Australian way, if I'm not wrong, where parties get parliamentary seats based on the percentage of the votes cast at the national level, because people vote for the party and then you go through the party list. Mm-hmm. You will even have very small parties, you know, getting certain votes. And that is the beauty of democracy, because it always gives mixed results.
Yes.
And so therefore, we threw that out of the window. Part of it was to vanquish whoever would be closest to winning power. And I think Raila at that point thought that he would be the winner, because Uhuru and Ruto were facing The Hague. But God works in mysterious ways. Uhuru and Ruto defeated Raila. Some people like Musalia Mudavadi have actually been out of power for 10 years. So what am I trying to say in short? You need some kind of soft landing.
Yes.
For whoever is the first runners up for the presidency. And if you look at the history of our country, we are primarily a de facto 2-party state. There's that binary, dichotomy, for lack of a better word. Since 1963, we had KANU and KADU. You see that, of course, KPU, but then coming all the way to the Ford parties versus KANU in 1992, and then coming to DP and KANU 1997, and then NAC and KANU 2002, PNU and ODM 2007, and then you have Jubilee, JAP, URP, TNA on one hand, and ODM, CORD.
Representing CORD, yes.
So there are always, 2017 again, it was a rematch of Jubilee versus NASA. And then 2022, it was Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza. So there are always two sides. The rest of the candidates are basically also runs. People like Wajakoya and David MWAURA Wahiga. And so because of that reality, then you will have the half of the country in the opposition. And Ghana has actually demonstrated that well than any other country in Africa. Yes. Where at some point, I think, is it 2016 elections, if I'm not wrong, the president won by less than 1% percentage point, and the other group goes into the opposition. So that is the kind of culture that you want to emulate. But then there should be a fallback position, where then you don't make noise in funerals and the streets and mandamanos. Yes. You do it in parliament.
If you look at the goodwill now, and when the president floated that, the hardliners in Kenya Kwanza were not essentially happy with that particular suggestion by the president, that we actually need to create the office of the opposition leader. It doesn't have to be for Raila Amolo Odinga, it's for the opposition leader. Does he have goodwill for that particular motion to even go to parliament?
It will, because people will vote along party lines, and that should be a bipartisan outcome. It's one of the key concessions that have been made by the bipartisan group.
Yes.
And I don't think we need to over-delay that, because President himself wrote a memorandum to Parliament asking Parliament to create that position, to deal with the issue of two-third gender, to have ministers and CASs going to answer to questions to Parliament. And I think one more other issue that I may not remember now. So it was foresight, and it is very important. So I do not see why Kenya Kwanza would refuse to pass such a bipartisan approach, because it's the issue of the IEBC and who should constitute the commissioners.
Yes.
That was a very contentious issue in 2007, I remember, because Kibaki went ahead and appointed commissioners, and then the election was disputed. So let's see what comes out of these talks. But I don't think you can fault either sides, because I also saw people like Ledama Olekina, throwing tantrums on social media, saying they have been archward yesterday, because we have a winner-take-it-all system, which is really not good
yes.
for democracy. I don't think you can say all the people who voted for Raila were wrong. I don't think you can say
in a democratic space, isn't it? Yes.
And with their passions, and we are very passionate. And I am one of the people who is extremely passionate about the side that I support, and I have suffered for it, very seriously so. If you look at my history, I have the record of having been expelled by ODM.
Yeah, that's on record.
I was expelled by Jubilee, but thank God I always bounce back. So I am of the view that after all is said and done, we are all Kenyans. And these political alliances are only for the purpose of winning power. It's like a hunting pack. Because, at some point, if we are to talk about ethnic communities, in 2007, the Kalenjins and the Luos were together. People of the Rift Valley and the people of the Lake were together. But then come 2013, people could not see eye to eye in 2007. The people of the mountain and the Rift Valley have been together now. This is that time that they have won elections. So it is not permanent, and it is neither something that people should die for, because it is just a way of getting who has it. It's a competition of ideas. Yes. And it sometimes it spills over to people being extremely vulgar. That's a kind of human nature. It's lack of political decorum. But it should not be to the extent that then it becomes entrenched animosity and enmity yes. amongst Kenyans.
There's the unspoken feeling in these bipartisan negotiations that the majority of Kenyans are waiting to see exactly what they come up with, and the 60 days were given, but then there's also a clock now that is counting on that. That it should be final. That indeed, if it goes back to Parliament, then it's not essentially goodwill. Because again, you're going to put the majority side against the minority side. Should it be final? Should we view this committee as the final committee in coming up with the recommendations that the government should adopt, as opposed to going back to the Parliament?
No, the spirit of bipartisanship is that by the time they go to Parliament, they will have already agreed on issues. And so Parliament will just vote. That is the ideal situation. That both sides will have, come together
yes.
And bridge the gap between themselves, so that then you end up with an outcome that is going to pass easily in Parliament. And it is not going to be majority versus minority. If truly, the people agree. And I would want to imagine that within this time they will agree, so that nothing really is contested in Parliament. That has been done before. That's why we have a new constitution, for example. Yeah.
I want to tell you what majority of Kenya Kwanza member number that we're going to talk about that in the second part of the discussion. I don't want to mention names because then they might ask for context, but I'll try extrapolate what they say. That indeed the government does not lose. And they've said that we are the majority. So when it comes to making decisions for this government, we're going to make sure that majority of those decisions have to go the government way. Are we going to sit here, Mheshimiwa, and say, well, you see, they're going to make those recommendations? I find they might agree, but the powers are clear in the National House. Aren't they going to stand up?
No, really. I choose to be an optimist here. Yeah.
From what we've seen so far?
No, I choose to be an optimist here. Because these members of Parliament will take a cue from their leaders.
Yes.
Yeah, and if they are talking about a rapprochement of these two people, sitting together, the president and the former prime minister, it therefore means that they will take the cue from there. If we really have to move this country forward, there must be some element of statesmanship. That the elections are over, and it is now time for the country to heal. Because, my brother, there is no way we are going to grow the economy when people are in the streets and then Kenyans take advantage of having an extra holiday on Monday.
We did.
So I don't think it's a question. There must be some kind of grandstanding, because before people mellow, they have to show their mettle. You get? Before they mellow, they have to show their mettle. And that is the essence of our polemic politics. So I strongly believe, Simba, that there will be a consensus. Because the issues are delineated.
Yes.
And the biggest of them, in my humble submission, leave alone those other things, there are two. Creating the leader of official position, and the issue of the IBC commissioners, how to appoint them. That's all. The rest are just side shows. Yeah, you remember this is why Raila started complaining, was because there was almost a bulldozing of how commissioners should be appointed as per the law that was passed in the Senate and in the National Assembly. So I think let us wait for that moment.
Yes.
Yeah, so that then we see what exactly gives. But I'm optimistic personally, as Isaac MWAURA, and also having been in politics for quite some time now.
Yes.
I started being in politics, national politics, in 2006 at the age of 24. When I was the youngest NEC member under ODM. So I've been with these guys for some time. Yeah, this is actually my what? I served in Kibaki 1 as a board member, Kibaki 2 as an advisor. So I have actually, this is my third administration to be in, actually.
Yes.
So I know one or two things,
yes.
I can say so. Yeah.
Let's look at one again, and that's exactly what has been giving Raila Amolo Odinga voice. Every time he's gone to the streets, it's an issue that seems to resonate with the majority of Kenyans. Let's split these issues like this. The way we're looking at it as the media is that there's the Raila Amolo Odinga issue and there's a Kenyan issue in these negotiations that we're going to have a look at in the next 60 days. Good. The Raila Amolo Odinga issue is, what do I get? You can't say that you're going to take it all. I mean, we've been fighting this even via BBI. The same BBI that you rejected, now we're bringing it back to you saying, well, give us something. Can be 100% for the person who works with it. And number two, Raila Amolo Odinga is looking and saying, why do I make Kenyans support me in this issue? The cost of living. As we talk right now, and we're going to heavily talk about that in the next part of our conversation, there's a finance bill that even the civil service is threatening to go to the street too, should it go through the National House. Could you help us understand, Mheshimiwa? In what way is it a Raila Amolo Odinga issue versus a Kenyan issue?
No. I think people follow their leader, my brother. There is nobody who has any iota of credibility politically if they don't have followers behind them. You have to represent a certain constituency. It could be a geographical constituency, it could be a special interest constituency, and that is very well delineated in Article 97 of the Constitution. But also in Article 98 in terms of the counties. And further also at the presidential level, because that's why we said you have to attain 50+1. And so therefore, why those two issues is because it is a matter of those who are in the opposition having their leader lead them from within. And that leader happens to be Raila Odinga. It could have been Kalonzo Musyoka or whoever else would have been the first runners up. And it is for posterity. It is one of the ingredients that we as a country did a very bad job in leaving that out. So yeah, it may look like it is to the person of Raila Odinga, but it will help in terms of stabilizing our electoral outcomes. Because you see, if we do not resolve political contestations through the ballot, then it is a rule of the jungle, and that is anarchy. We have to follow the rule of law, going forward. Number two, it is also the idea that the process is the product is as good as the process. So if someone says that we should have a stake on who becomes a commissioner, so be it. Because by the end of the day, my brother, we in Kenya Kwanza also know that we didn't have majority of the commissioners. That's why we have the Cherera form.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter as long as you have proper systems.
Yes.
As long as you have proper systems, by the end of the day, if you don't have the people on your side, the commissioners will not cook results. It has been already adjudicated that the final results are at the polling station. There are 46,000 plus currently, and it's extremely difficult to manipulate such elections.
Yes.
So when you say you open the server, for these elections, the vote was out there for everyone to tabulate. Yeah, so I think we are just trying to set the right kind of standards. And I think it will even go further to say if you have the right to picket, there should be designated areas where you can picket. I have seen that in New York, for example, at the Rough Branch place there. Next to Downing Street in London, there is also a place for picketing. And many other places that we have seen people picketing. And even in Indonesia, I've seen people picketing. But you cannot interfere with other people's business because you have some grievances to address. Because, I mean, for every right, there is also a responsibility. Yeah. So that we make our democracy neat and we make our issues hard, and the shoe can always be on the other side of the foot. And I've been in the opposition. I have been in government myself. I have been in government that is in opposition.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those three situations are funny.
Yes.
But by the end of the day, all of us are trying to clamor for a better Kenya.
Yes. Just to be clear on that, if indeed Raila Odinga is quite clear on pushing Dr. President William Ruto's government to bring down the cost of living, case in point, the subsidies, do you think that is going to be a point that the committee has to agree on?
I don't think there's any way that the committee can agree on the cost of living. I beg to differ. Because it's not really a question of sitting down and making a resolution.
They have been specific. Bring back the subsidies. No. As we talked this morning, the subsidy for fuel, for diesel and kerosene has been removed. Kenyans are now buying at 161, 168.
No, you see, the global market for a litre of petrol is €3.
Yes.
Can you calculate how much that is? What President Ruto has done, instead of subsidizing consumption, he is actually subsidizing production. There's a lot of money that we were spending in terms of middlemen between country A and country B.
Yes.
So it is now government-to-government agreement on importation of fuel. What have we done? We have released over $500 million from that market, and therefore that has actually significantly helped the dollar to come down. That is very, very innovative. So you are subsidizing production because the cost for these middlemen are actually production costs. They are not consumption costs. Consumption cost is where you say, this is going to cost 100, but let me pay you 20 so that it costs 80.
Yes.
And it is a market distortionist kind of thing, and subsidies are not necessarily the best. If you look at even agriculture, the president has gone ahead to subsidize production by having a cheap fertilizer, or affordable fertilizer for that matter. And the same case, if you look at the cost of production of cement, you have local manufacturing capacity, so you increase taxation on imports. And so that we are a right of center government. Azimio is left of center. I've been with them for 10 good years. I know them. They believe in handouts. We believe in hand up. That's the difference, Simba. And that approach was very, very clear, because while we were proposing Hustler Fund, which is basically microloans, Azimio was proposing
Uwezo Fund.
No, Baba Care. Yeah, the 6,000 shillings. Yes. Uwezo is a carryover of the fact that we did not have a repeat general election in 2013. So you can see the difference in terms of the outlook. And you understand, because Raila Odinga's history and his father, they've come from far left, communist actually, all the way to left of center. In fact, he says he can maintain a dynamic center. Sometimes he's on the center right and moves this way. But then it's because he became the billionaire's candidate last election. So that kind of cohabitation of strange bedfellows, so as also appropriate the language of the hoi polloi. But we never lost our right of center rhetoric around getting capital to the affordable capital to the people, so that they can pull themselves up with their bootstraps.
Yes. Yeah. Mheshimiwa, I want us to take a break right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, the man from within policy formulation is with us right here on the Morning Drift. The question has been, this 3% housing fund that the president is not calling a tax, is it really a tax? And if so, then, if a tax is quid pro quo, do this or do this, what is the government really going to do for the rest of those who are going to start seeing the 3% then come out of their paycheck? That plus other issues in as much as the economy is concerned, and that coming from the joint media interview that the president held this Sunday. Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift, the hashtag is the Morning Drift. I am at Kiage Simba. This is Lookuptv. Good morning.
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your #1 show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Beautiful, wonderful, glorious. We are having the show that we share entitled Shepherd Voice.
I'm waiting for you to get me to Kenya. That's what I'm waiting
for you.
God is the source.
Sasa kama hakuna ile nguo inanitosha unataka nifanye aje?
Because you are fat.
Sasa ukiongelea mimi ati fat. Na Julie tutasemaje?
Hi and welcome to Diaspora Fusion. Today we are at Sarit Expo Center and we are about to take on the Tourism Expo.
My name is Bernard Itabete.
My name is Isabella.
My name is Anne Rabar. My name is Joshua Awili and I'm in charge of sales for Salt Lake and Taita Hills, Safari Lodges.
Corporate sales manager at Sarovo Hotels.
I am a guest relations at Reef Hotel, Mombasa.
Yeah, I work for an Egyptian. Yeah, I'm the marketing manager.
Here you get all players in the industry, from hotels to lodges to even airlines. You name it, we got it.
It's all about trying out fresh meals. As you know, your health comes first. Experience a tasty and sweet aroma in your kitchen today. It's not just about cooking, but also having fun, interesting conversations, keeping it professional, and not forgetting refreshing moments.
Oh, let me tell you, mine is gonna be
The Cook-Off with Alex Karani, Saturdays at 6 p.m.
A very good morning to you yet again. You are just in time for the morning drift here on Lookuptv. And Simba was talking about matters politics. I am here to help you to talk about matters tax. You know, it's May, June, around that time when you are expected to file your returns. Like Kiara says, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. And to help me dissect that is Mr. Alex Kithaka, a tax expert with Kiara. Very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
You're very welcome.
Now, like I've said, Kiare, you do people say kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea.
Yeah.
Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. But you know, we are working to the face of each and every person expected to file returns. But before we talk about filing of returns, there's the simmering debate on matters tax in the country. The finance bill and all that. Now,